Hello, everybody. How you doing out there today? My name is Mike, and I help people navigate through the self-love journey so we can break free of old patterns and relationships and create a conscious relationship via self-love principles and all of that fun stuff. So I hope you can hear me okay. If you can hear me, say hello. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a something or other so I know you can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Uday, how you doing? So I want to thank you guys very much for joining me today. So really, I always talk about the journey, right? And every week I'll say it over and over again. This journey is moving away and disconnecting from our conscious and unconscious patterns. Hi, Kristen, hi. And move away from these like survival strategies that we built over time and really touches our soul's divinity. You know, it's about coming home to self and our power and our infinite wisdom. And so really it's about getting to a place where we can support ourselves, or support our expansion and our self-actualization. And really ultimately what happens is we break relationship patterns and we manifest so many things in life, including a conscious relationship if that's where you are in your life at the moment. And so it's very interesting because I'm very excited about today's live because today we're going to be talking about that manifestation and how we can manifest through healing. So before I get into it, I always have this no guilt, no shame, no self-punishment policy when you're listening to a live or if you're watching any of my videos and so on. Because as I talk about things, things kind of come up, right? Things become uncomfortable at times because there's some stuff that I talk about that are going to be like, ooh, yeah, shit, I've done that before. And so we start to shit all over ourselves and we have all this guilt and shame and all this other bullshit. So it's important to have none of that, okay? None of it. And so a caveat now, I'm very excited about today's live. And I've actually have a bunch of notes because originally this was going to be a blog or video, but I decided I wanted to make it into a live because it requires a certain amount of energy, and I would really love your feedback. So if you can still hear me, that would be great. If you know what manifestation is, please feel free to put a comment. That would be awesome. Hi to everyone that's just joined. So manifestation. So first things first, we're not talking about, I won't be talking about The Secret, okay? I won't be talking about thinking of a red bike and then you're going to get a red bike. That's not what today's live is about, okay? Today's live is about manifestation through our own healing, okay? So I actually have this quote I want to read out. I wish I had the source because this is really awesome. And I will find it and I will put it as one of the comments in the future. But manifesting at the most basic level is about receiving the desires and vision of your heart unclouded by the doubts and fears of your mind or past pain, and then working with your emotions, intuition, and the universe itself to create the desires in the 3D material realm. I added the word 3D there. Isn't that profoundly beautiful? And so what this really is a beautiful process of creating our present and creating our future that we'd like to access through the alignment of our, and getting alignment to our desires through our own healing. And so what do I mean by healing? So as we're going through life, we come into this world pure, right? Our soul is divine, is at its divinest. We are basically we're just a being, a baby, and we have no pains. We have a clean slate. We are pureness. I don't know, for lack of a better word. And so what happens as we grow older, we go through school and we have our family dynamics and we get bullied. We interact with other beings. Most of them are caregivers, and we experience very painful things. And what happens is, even at a very young age, we believe that the painful things, the projections, of other people's pain is brought onto us, and we take it personally. And so if someone has a bad day and they lash out, a parent has done that, or a caregiver, I'm sure has done that before, a sibling, a teacher, or anyone that is worth our attention. And we believe that it's about us, and we develop these harmful thoughts. And so what happens is we get into areas in where we begin to think that we're stupid, we should know better. And so we have all of these ideas that we're not talented enough. And as we get older and as our psyche gets damaged, we actually believe this shit and we make it Bible. And so our soul dies. We identify to these thoughts and we think that it's actually true. It's like our own truth. Well, it's true because such and such said so. I remember a grade 5 teacher saying to me, "You will never amount to anything, Mr. Finelli." And I actually believe that. And I still have it with me. Strangely enough, it still comes with me every so often, and I recognize it. And that's why this is actually a journey. This journey is about getting to a place. There's no finish line in this, self-love journey or this journey in general. You can call it whatever you want. And so we develop these thoughts and we actually allow them to control our life. We actually let it control how we operate every day. And so what happens is these are actually emotions. And because emotions are energy and motion, they become a very key part of manifesting anything that goes in your life. Again, this is not about The Secret and thinking about a bike and then you're going to have a bike the next day. This is about tuning into the emotions that you have as you go through life every day and believing that they are actually real. So over time, these quote-unquote negative emotions accumulate in us. They never get released, and so they create depression, anxiety, anger, and possibly physical pain as well. And so I'll give you a personal example of the physical pain. And now my background is I grew in a fairly dysfunctional household where I had an emotionally unavailable parent who was very angry. And so I grew up with that and thought it was about me. And I thought that he didn't love me because I wasn't a certain way. And I was the youngest son and he didn't want me to begin with. And I created all these beautiful stories. So my truth, right? My truth. I took all of that and I actually made it my circumstances. And so I took all of those emotions and they get trapped in the body. And so I wish I had some references off the top of my head, but any emotion that we have gets stored into our body. And so it causes physical pain. And so what happened with me is I actually developed lower back pain for decades, probably 15 to 17 years. And that was a combination of not living a life in alignment and also storing these pains into my body because that energy wasn't being released until I actually started to do the healing work. And so the healing work was habits and circumstances and things that helped me go heal through the process. And so those are different things that I will get into either later on in the live or if you follow anything that I do, I talk about those things. And so I believe that this story was true. And so what we do is we live through this programming in our life. We take this as like an operating system. And we actually believe that it's real. And this is our reality. This is the only thing that's available to us. And it controls our daily life. It becomes our baseline of emotions and actions that we take every day. And also emotions that translate to inactions that we don't take. So someone offers us an amazing job, we don't take it because we think and feel that we are not enough. Or this amazing person that wants to be in our life, whether it's in a relationship, intimate or otherwise, is good for us, but we're so used to this programming is we tend to push them away consciously and unconsciously. And so what does this mean when it comes to manifestation? It is my absolute belief that the moment that we transcend and heal, and we truly transcend and heal all of these programs and all of these situations and all of these things that have caused us pain and hurt, whether it's psychological or physical, once we are able to disconnect from that and heal those, we become manifestors. We become very powerful manifestors. And the reason is very simple. So, we hear about energy and we hear about vibrational frequency. And if you follow any of that, you know that at a very microscopic level, everything is vibrating at a cell level. And so we vibrate at a high frequency naturally. And so by doing the healing work is the way for us to be able to fully return to that vibration, to come back to that vibrational frequency. Healing brings you back to the present moment. It doesn't bring you to a future state which causes anxiety due to insecurity. So as we begin to do the healing work, and anyone that's been doing any kind of healing or any kind of transcending will begin to feel like you're returning back to yourself. You're returning back to your vibrational frequency that you were born with, what I talked about at the beginning of this live, right? And so what happens is it brings you back to this present moment and allows you to connect to this creative source that comes natural to you. And so, when somebody says, oh, you have a great vibe. So going back to vibration, right? Somebody says, oh, you have a great vibe. Oh, it was good vibes or any of that. It gives me an example of, and so I live in a small town in Costa Rica, and every day around noon, I can actually hear them. There's a guy that sells coconuts on a very super, super amazing, beautiful spirit that sells coconuts every day. And he comes by the houses, you go out there and you give him $1 and he gives you a fresh coconut, cuts it up, and you drink the water and so on. And we've had this experience over the last year and a half that anytime that I see him, I stop and I buy something and I just hang around there and I drink my water. And we talk about beautiful things. We talk about how grateful it is, especially during these times of having income, being able to do what we love. And he's still thriving in lieu of the fact that the landscape has changed when it comes to tourism in this town. But it seems that every time we are talking about that stuff and I'm there and we're together, we or I or just our vibrational frequency tends to bring more people in. And he sells like 10 coconuts at a time. And it's funny enough, he said it to me the other day. He says, in Spanish, he says, buena vibra, which is good vibes, because we seem to tend to bring people to buy more of his coconuts. And so this is the journey about vibration. So this is the vibration part, the healing, the vibration, and the manifesting, because obviously he is in a state of manifesting more clients, so he's able to sell his coconuts and make, God bless him, for his 10 or 20 or $30 for the day. And so as we heal, taking the actions towards your dreams becomes less scary and easier, because we're not, again, operating from this scarcity mindset. We're not vibrating at a frequency of shame and guilt and anxiety and pain. And so if this is making any sense to you, I would love for you guys to chime in, give me a thumbs up or make a comment, like this manifestation stuff and the healing and the vibration. So if this has ever happened to you where you're kind of vibrating high and you want to create something and you want to have something in your life, and then suddenly it just kind of appears just based on the fact that you've really tuned into the emotion of wanting that. So this is so critical, because if the less afraid we are, the more present we are, the more healing work that we do, the more we can manifest. And the more we manifest what we want in our life, the relationships, the circumstances, the people, it ties back to the healing. It allows us to create space for more healing. It allows our soul to to get to a point where it almost craves to escape those dark parts of ourselves. And so it's almost like the healing becomes almost like an addiction, like a good addiction, because you become so grateful for these beautiful things that happen in your life. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm just going to take a moment to take a drink of water. And I have some notes here because originally this was going to be a blog, but I decided to make it into a live. And so, a lot of this vibration is not difficult for us to find. And it's not very difficult to tap into. And the healing process that, for example, I guide my clients through identifies where in that exact moment those painful emotions came in and where those fear-based beliefs were created. And this is so important to our healing because if we understand where the source is, we can start to call bullshit on ourselves and say, yeah, that's a great story that I created. Like, I created this story that my dad was emotionally available to me and it made it about me when really it was really about him. But I used that program and brought it with me. So what happened is I perpetually created circumstances in my life and specifically in my intimate relationships that model that. So manifested partners that were emotionally unavailable. Both long-term relations that I had were with people that were just exited, actually 3, actually. No shame there. Of people that have just exited relationships, which means that by default, they're emotionally unavailable because they're still going through their healing process. And so I hope that kind of makes sense. And Kristen, yes, and God and the universe finds ways to send us desires of our hearts when we eliminate the roadblocks we've created that have kept us from receiving it in the past. 100%. We create these energetic blocks. Again, we call these energetic blocks, but they're emotional blocks. They're fears and anxieties. So when we actually do see someone that's available to us, what do? We block them. We say, oh, no, this feels way too comfortable. This is way too easy. So our subconscious almost pushes people away that are actually good for us. And so the idea of going through this healing and through this process, through this journey, through this, whatever you want to call it, is the avenue for us to create a new belief system. It's to create this manifestation through our healing. And so all the desires that we want manifest through this healing, through this work. And not everything is going to get resolved. There are different types of traumas. I acknowledge that. There's physical abuse and there's sexual abuse and narcissism. And those are all big T traumas, right? So I acknowledge the fact that everyone's journey is different. It's not a matter of, you heal overnight and there you go on. It's this journey. It's self-love, the journey. Healing is not linear. It doesn't have a finish line. There is no, yay, I reached a point where now I can manifest everything. You can, but it's a baseline. It's a way of living. Does this make sense to anyone? If that makes sense, that this is a process for you to become fucking powerful, healing, manifesting animal, beast, you need to go through this process continuously. It's a journey. There is no finish line. Everyone thinks that you do this stuff and suddenly you become this master guru. No such thing. My healing work continues all the time, every day, and I raise and elevate. And so if you can picture a ladder with the different rungs, the reason why they're spaced 12 inches apart or whatever it is so you can get up it easier. It's one rung at a time. They're not spaced out. I think I had a post on this on my story the other day, is that the rungs are not 6 feet apart because you shouldn't be able to jump from one to the other. They're not massive leaps. There's little small changes in your habits, in your programming, understanding your subconscious, All of these things require us to transcend those one small piece at a time. So what happens after you've been healed and you've been through manifestation for a while? Do you clear all of those pains? Yes and no. But what happens is you become, as I said before, more present. Your inner conflicts are primarily resolved. You understand your fears. You understand your own objections. You understand what your inner child has always wanted. And so that way you don't have to, you can detach yourself from that. And so this work is so much about understanding yourself. And when you do that, understanding your patterns, both conscious and subconscious, where you came from, where you learned them from, where it is that you got these bullshit stories because some kid in the schoolyard said you're an idiot, so suddenly you believed it. Or some kid says, oh, you're not fun at all, and suddenly you believe that you're not fun at all, and you take that shit and you bring it into adulthood and you get into dysfunctional relationships with someone else, and then you wonder why you're not happy and you're not manifesting someone in your life that is on the same vibrational frequency. This is healing and manifestation is an ongoing process. It happens. There's this synergy between the two. It may sound pretty like boring or mundane, potentially. But really, a lot of our conflicts that we have in our life are exactly that. They're these projections that we have on each other about all of these bullshit stories and programs that we believed growing up. And so we continue to buy into that. And so what becomes really cool about this energy and motion and this healing is, and all of that, is that past pain no longer consumes our energy. When we no longer recreate past relationships. And we no longer get into fear-based situations. We don't get together with partners that are unavailable. That would be me. That's my example. And so what it does is it frees all of this energy that was trapped in our body through our emotions. And we can begin to magically create and manifest people, circumstances, and all of that are on the same vibrational frequency. All right, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about manifesting in the same vibrational frequency. And so what happens is that we tap into this potential that's in the universe, that's totally available to any one of us, to every one of us. We just need to be able to believe that. Like it's so difficult for us, for most of us, for the most part, to believe that there's anything beyond a three-dimensional, what we can see. Right? What we can see. I only know what I can see. There's a lot of shit that is unavailable to our limited sight. And all of that energy and the vibration. I think there was a quote from Nikola Tesla. Everything is energy, vibration, and I wish I could remember. If anybody remembers on here and they're able to Google it real fast, it would be great to put it on here. And so, thank you. I'm so ready to get rid of my negativity. Yeah, aren't we all? Like, look at the shit that's happened in the last year with all of this COVID and how much negativity that we saw in through politics and the news. And, we need that. We need to be able to reconnect to our unconscious fears, reconnect to that part of us that is no longer going to put up with this substandard bullshit that's happening around us. And so, because all of our hurts and all of our pains, they all manifest in relationships. And this is what I love talking about. Energy, creation, manifestation, healing, and then manifesting a partner is that we all want love, don't we? Like we all want to be connected to somebody. We all want somebody special that we can create a beautiful life with, right? And so it's so pivotal for us to realize that the outer reality is just a projection. Our outer reality is just a projection of what is happening in our inner world. Like, think about that. Does that resonate with anybody? I'd love blue hearts, as you can tell from my posts. And so once we've stopped unknowingly manifesting people, places, and circumstances in our life, we've now freed ourselves to intentionally manifest what we want by looking within. And I appreciate that. If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So he knew what was going on. Unfortunately, his story is a little bit sad, but what's happened is that the people that he was dealing with, and if you haven't seen or read or seen documentary on Tesla, it's actually a pretty sad story. But it's so interesting because today's world is almost like it's a daydream that it prevails from our feelings and beliefs. Again, brought feelings and beliefs that we developed, all of these patterns and the programming and all that bullshit. And so, life doesn't have to continue to punish us. We can make changes, because the changes that we make internally, right? The changes that we make in our internal world manifests, vibrates, creates an energy on the outside. I'm not sure if the movie, the book, whatever, The Secret, really kind of talked about this stuff in this way. I don't remember them ever talking about healing, because the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, we project those to other people. And that's why we have dysfunctional relationships. That's why relationships fail. That's why divorce rates are through the roof. And why we have dysfunctionality in our relationships with a partner, but also with other family members, blah, 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 in our work and our coworkers and all that bullshit. And so the reason why we don't get to connect with our soul, the reason why we have such a hard time connecting to that part of us, is that we're just not taught how to harness that emotional energy and release it. We're not taught to do the work. We're not done to. Can you imagine getting these kind of talks during your school? No chance. So we're just not taught these patterns. So we just take all this bullshit, we take these stories, and we go out there in the world, like hurt little children, and we hurt each other, and then we wonder why we're not happy and why we can't create certain things. We go into life coming from a place of dysfunctionality, and what do? You vibrate dysfunctionality out there. And what do? You manifest, and dysfunctionality follows you. If I knew then what I know now, and probably everybody's thinking that, if you knew then what you know now, how many different choices would you have made if you knew that the choices that you made in your life, because really that's what this journey is. It's a journey of choices. It's a journey of particular choices. If you make choices with love, true self-love, you will make choices that are in complete alignment with your values and the type of life and relationship that you want. If you make choice from scarcity, fear, anxiety, lack, then you're vibrating that, and that's exactly what you're going to receive. Someone that is at equal vibrational frequency. Like we've seen, and if you're into this vibration stuff for a while now, you'll kind of understand where I'm at. My take is that the healing, the transcendence, becoming who we were when we were just fresh little tiny babies when we were born, so innocent and pure, if we can go back to that state and believe in ourselves and love ourselves and truly embrace the fact that we are powerful manifestors and being present, then we're able to consciously create the relationship that we want, because all of the profound healing work that we've done. Now, how beautiful. Now, I'd like some hands up or some hearts or something or other. Who would begin the healing journey today if they knew that, yes, it was going to be uncomfortable for a bit. It was going to be, we'd have to get to the little dark places and get into those areas that feel uncomfortable, knowing full well that during the process, you will become more present, you will begin to appreciate what's around you, and you will manifest anything and anyone that you want in your life because you've come from a place of infinite source energy. I don't think there's anyone out there. And if you don't put an emoji, something is wrong. Something needs to change because whatever you've had going on till now is not working. I know. I did that for years. I was in the corporate world for 17 years, for those who know me. And I followed the formula. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. I followed the formula that everybody follows, right? You go to school, get a job, get married, 1.5 kids, or is it 2.5? I don't even remember now. And so I followed that formula that was not in alignment. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But where I came in creating that came from a place of lack. I was afraid that if I didn't, my live went away for a second. If I didn't meet those standards, then I would be shamed and I would be guilted. And so I don't want to get into too much detail on that because I really want to concentrate, and I'm coming towards the end of the live here. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, this is a great time. It's such a great opportunity for us to share our experience. And so to encapsulate the power of the healing journey, the self-love journey, the empowerment journey, the rise to the top journey, to whatever the name you want to call it, is a collection of choices that our divine soul wants to take to be able to create the life that we want through our manifestation powers that is within us. Everybody has them. We just need to re-tap back into that infinite source energy. And so I'm going to have this recorded today. It's going to be saved. I'm so grateful to be able to talk about this stuff at a time where we need it the most, a time where so many of us are maybe feeling disconnected or feeling they need to heal. And so one of the beautiful things about the very basic thing that's really cool that you can start with is understanding what it is that you value, what's important to you. And so I've actually created a workbook. It's absolutely free. You can go to my website at mikefinelli.com/values. You can download that. And this is a great way to be able to see if you are living your life currently in your relationship or whatnot in accordance to those values. We think we know our values, but our values are stemming from a place of pain, dysfunctionality, and needing to heal. Sometimes we create our values because it's convenient. I value family and friends. Awesome. I value security. Really? Huh. Why do you value security? This is a great opportunity to get curious. Why does security so important to you? Did you have lack of security growing up? Do you need to latch onto something? Do you need to be in a relationship so that you can feel like you matter, that you're safe and secure, and that you will be acknowledged, just as like I wasn't acknowledged by my father growing up? You see the pattern that's happened with me. And so you are only obligated to yourself. If you are happy, then it all goes up from there. 100%. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. If that resonates, please do chime in. It's exactly that. The obligation is to ourselves. It all starts from this internal world, right? And then radiates out. It all starts and stems from there. And so I appreciate your time. I'm going to be doing these every Wednesday, and every week will be very different. And again, if you want more information, I'm on the Facebook, as it was originally called, as well. Just look for Mike Finelli. My personal page is wide open. You can go on there. Also on the gram here, and of course my website, mikefinelli.com/values is where you can get the values book. And I'm so grateful. This is awesome. I appreciate your time. This stuff is so important. This work is so important right now. It's so important for us, for our family, for our children. Something needs to change. And if we have to get on this healing journey, then we've got to do it. We're obligated. It's our obligation as souls on this earth to do this work. And I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your kind words. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.